Nope. Nope. I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again! It's been a while since we've last checked into Idle Hell, aka LoveLive, here at New Game Plus, and there's been some pretty big updates. Not only has there been more light shed on the next big LoveLive group, Liella, but the girls introduced in the latest mobile game, School Idol Festival All-Stars, they got their own anime series, and it's a surprisingly decent one to boot. While Liella is set to be a bigger deal in 2021, for now we've got the first LoveLive game to be released on consoles, and you know what, I'll just let the game say its title, it's a bit long.
LoveLive! School Idol Festival! After School Activity!
YY Home Meeting has a bit of a confusing origin. It's the console port of the arcade game, LoveLive School Idol Festival After School Activity, which in turn is the port of the mobile game, LoveLive School Idol Festival. For the sake of my sanity and to hopefully ease some confusion, I'll be referring to this game as SIF PS4, with the arcade game as SIF AC, and the phone game as just plain old SIF. Get it? Got it? Good. As far as the game goes, it's fairly standard rhythm game stuff. There aren't any troublesome note mechanics, all you've got to worry about are just taps and holds. A hallmark of all versions of SIF is that you're able to set your lineup of all sorts of skills and abilities, which are a requirement for getting those high scores, and that stays here in the console version. Unlike the mobile game, both SIF AC and PS4 won't let you fail songs, you just play them out to the end. What has changed in the arcade game are the note charts. There's now 2 ways to play each song in the game. The game's dual mode limits you to either 4 to 6 buttons depending on difficulty. It's a good way to get acclimatized to playing the game on a television and with a controller, where previously the game has been much closer to your face. Additionally, the game includes the arcade mode charts, where it uses the more standard SIF setup of 9 buttons regardless of difficulty. While the game does attempt to explain that the arcade mode charts are for more experienced players, they can be slightly easier to get a hold of than the console-specific charts. The game also does a pretty good job of attempting to emulate SIF's half-circle layout onto a controller, and while it does take a little getting used to, it's a fun challenge. Capping off the new gameplay additions is live show mode, where you can individually watch the dance routines without actually playing the game. Not only can you use this to take photos, but you can also queue them up in a medley. It's a neat little thing that allows you to really appreciate the great job done in capturing and animating each performance. Probably the single biggest change as part of the port is the removal of the gacha system. To explain, in the arcade game, to earn new costumes or skills, you'd have to roll for them using real money and would be represented as physical cards you print out from an arcade setup. SIF PS4 happens to be free to start, so all this is now earnable via progression and, well, just playing the game, and it's an extremely welcome change. This is particularly useful for costumes, as now you need to earn a number of materials to craft a costume for a given character. It can get a little grindy, but the game does a good job of telling you what songs feature any required costume parts, and thanks to the game's comprehensive challenge system, actively incentivizes you swapping between all 20 characters and just playing the game. However, the option to purchase these costumes with real money is there, should you want to actually do so. What isn't a particularly welcome change is how the song list is treated. When you download the game, you're only given 8 songs, 4 for Muse and 4 for Aqua. If there isn't any way to unlock songs via progression, you are required to make some purchases should you want any more music in the game. Where this becomes particularly infuriating is that so much of the game's tracklist is locked behind the paywall. Let me put it to you like this. There's 117 songs in the game, and with the 8 you have by default, you start off with around 6% of the total track list. Where this becomes even more annoying is that most of the well-known and popular songs across both School Idol Project and Sunshine are paid DLC, not to mention every song featuring the popular duo Saint Snow is also behind the paywall. For comparison's sake, both SIF and SIF AC, the former of which is also a free-to-play mobile game, both allow you to unlock songs via progression. Couple that with the fact that you can only purchase songs in kind of expensive song packs and not individually, it becomes a genuine issue that may turn off a lot of people. While I get that something had to give as part of SIF PS4 becoming a free-to-play game, the fact that this is what gave way is disheartening. If you wanted to own the entire track list, it'll set you back hundreds of dollars, something that's especially a problem when you look at not just other free-to-play rhythm games, but most other rhythm games that require some form of upfront payment. Probably the biggest issue remaining with SIF PS4 is the question of where it goes from here. Over in Japan, the arcade game received its final update back in November, so it's highly unlikely any new songs will be added, so apologies to anyone paying for songs from Liella or the Nijigasaki girls. There are events allegedly planned, but given that the arcade events were designed with the gacha in mind, it'll be interesting to see if Square Enix adds more than just play this game on any given girl's birthday for bonus resources, I guess. LoveLive's School Idol Festival After School Activity YY Home Meeting is an interesting proposition. It brings one of the more extravagant arcade machines home and to the West, and does a pretty good job maintaining what makes the game unique and fun, even with some trade-offs. However, it's a game that I can only really recommend to rhythm game diehards or those who can't actually make it to Japan to play the arcade game, because the issues regarding its track list are a genuine bummer. If you like LoveLive and you want to see SIF running in 3D and 60 frames per second, you're probably already playing this and hopefully enjoying it. If for whatever reason this is your first exposure to all things LoveLive or School Idol Festival, then while this is still fundamentally a decent rhythm game, you're better off getting your fix elsewhere.